So, Sony bought Gaikai last year with the streaming gaming capability, and everybody's wondering what they're going to do. So I'm going to put my Michael Pachter-esque prediction to you to see if I can get some validation. I believe that they're going to unveil it with the PS4, and it basically, instead of having backwards compatibility built in, you'll be able to stream PS3, PS2, PS1 games, etc. directly into your PS4. What do you think?
It's brilliant. I think you're right. I've been corresponding with David Perry a lot lately, and David is constantly on call with Sony. So they're active and they're doing something, and the timing actually makes perfect sense. Here we are in December. I think we're going to hear about a PS4 as soon as February or March. So certainly by GDC, I think you actually hear about the PS4 launch. And it makes sense that David would be busy working with Sony, having to work on something. Backward compatibility makes sense. They don't have to spend money on hardware and build it into the PS4. They can just allow you to access a stream of a PS3 or earlier version game. That's brilliant. You're right.
I was due. Our last topic, based on 2012 and the predictions, you have a hat there, Michael. At the VGAs, The Walking Dead surprised the crap out of everybody, myself included, with regards to its win. And you did say, when you've been interviewed by Dan Kaiser just before the award show aired, that you would eat your hat. So Jeremy Hoffman has kindly made a hat. So you've got a hat. I have a hat as well, because I made a prediction on Bonus Round at the beginning of the year that Microsoft would announce the Xbox 720 and release it this year, and GTA 5 would be a launch title. I was pretty drunk that day. So I have a hat too.
It's
because
kind of a launch title.
Maybe, you never know. So we're going to eat our hats, and then we're going to discuss the VGA. So cheers to you.
I don't know if I can get this whole thing down.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I'm having dinner tonight.
Let's talk about Walking Dead winning. It was a huge surprise. Now, I'm a big fan of the series as it came out over the year. Love the point-and-click adventures. I'm glad Journey got nominated as well, which is an excellent game. I'm not sure it deserved to win. I'm not sure it was the best game of 2012. I think it was up there. It was definitely deserved to be in that top 5, top 4. I mean, do you think it deserved to win afterwards, after you've had a chance to sit and ruminate and cogitate?
I think that the experience is what won. So I don't think that it was necessarily the game as much as it was the sum of the game and all of the, I don't know what you call them, episodes, expansions. I believe there were a total of something like 5, right?
5, yeah.
So if you actually think about the game in the aggregate, it probably is quite comparable to a full-blown console game. And I think they executed well. I mean, I think that they created something that was genuinely scary and interesting. There was a story. I think that the sneaky surprise of the television series has helped. My understanding is that these guys have sold something like 5 million total downloads. So certainly well in excess of 1 million full-blown copies of the game, probably 2 or 3, and then 1 or 2 expansions per person. So they're doing really well. And it's just now getting even more popular because of the Game of the Year.
And it's getting its own retail release in a couple of weeks.
So I think that, I think what's great about it is that it shows you that a different business model for the delivery of a game can work. It shows you that you can get a full-blown console experience in pieces. And I'm most intrigued by the whole, episodic nature of delivery, that you can actually try a game for $15, and if you like it, you can spend the other $40 or $50 to buy the rest of the game. I'd love to see more games like that.
The great thing about Walking Dead was that, I mean, for $15, I actually got on a Steam sale in the middle of the year. I got all 5 episodes for $15. So that works out, $3 a pop. Do you think we're going to see everyone and their dog now going episodic in 2013, where you'll start to see games that we were expecting to perhaps be full price versions all of a sudden hit this episodic $7, $8, $9 a pop for 3 hours, and then, if you're lucky, you'll get a sequel?
I don't. I mean, I think that the super high quality developers really don't like that model. You did see something like Battlefield 1943 was that, was the $15 kind of game. but as a bridge between Battlefield 2 and Battlefield 3. I think you might get A-list developers doing a one-off like a Battlefield 1943. I think more likely some of these Kickstarter games we were talking about, if Tim Schafer's game is successful, his $3 million game, why not immediately do a Kickstarter project and have another episode and another episode and another episode? So I think it's a good way to get projects off the ground and see if they work. Obviously, Walking Dead was planned as 5 episodes, but no, I don't think that's going to become the norm.
And I will say The Walking Dead, I mean, it was certainly, that and Journey were two of the games that really got the most emotion out of me this year. And they fully deserve everything that they've got. So I'm not dissing either of those games. If you follow me on Twitter or seen any of the shows, you know how much I adore them both. All right, so talking about the VGAs and all the Game of Year nominations, I mean, I personally have issue with the VGAs for closing the nomination period so early, so that a game like last year, The Old Republic, I think, should have been in running for several awards. And I think this year, Far Cry 3 has really been screwed by the VGA and their rules. And a lot of other, I think, end-of-year nominations for websites, magazines, they all seem to have totally ignored this game in the Game of Year run-up. And I'm kind of stunned because and this is perhaps something where the games industry's got it ass backwards. We don't need a Game of Year at the end of 2012. We need it in January to take into account all these games. I mean, have you played Far Cry 3? I mean, for me, it's probably in my top 3 games of the year. Might even be in my top 1 game of the year. But have you played it? I mean, how do you feel about it?
I haven't. Actually, I have to say that's the first game I've seen that had the bad guy on the cover. Like, the cover art made me want to play it. And I love the guy just from the trailers that I saw, but it made me want to play the game. It's like, usually it's the good guy on the cover. This had the villain on the cover. Yeah, I haven't played it long enough to know that it's the best game I've ever played, but it's good. I think that you're right. Every other industry that does award shows does them shortly after the close of the year. The Academy Awards, I believe, is in February or March. There's no reason why the VGAs couldn't be the second week in January and have the voting period commence January 1st. I mean, of course they could do that. But, we have to talk to Spike TV and figure out what their program schedule is.
Listen to him. So, all right, let me ask you, what has been what's your game of 2012?
I think that the reviewers get it wrong. I think that they vote for art as opposed, and essentially what they're voting for is what the public should have purchased rather than what the public did purchase. And I actually think that there should be kind of a minimum threshold. To be a game of the year, you should have sold 5 million units or more. If it wasn't popular,
you give the example of the Academy Awards. I mean, for the Game of Year Awards to recognize excellence in gaming. I mean, then movies like The King's Speech and The Artist, they would never have been up for the Academy Awards, and
I think they shouldn't have been. I think they shouldn't have been.
But
I think that the industry makes a mistake in celebrating commercial failures. What the industry is trying to do is put itself above people's taste, and they say, yes, I know you didn't see The King's Speech and it's too slow for you and boring, or you didn't see The Artist because you're not into a movie without any dialogue and with subtitles, but you should have been. And I think that's pompous. I believe that shows like the People's Choice Awards make more sense than shows like the Academy Awards, where someone's going to tell us what art is. If you didn't see it, then it wasn't the best movie of the year. I mean, it just wasn't. And if nobody saw it, who cares? I frankly think that's a waste of time. Well, so that's why I offered to eat my hat if Walking Dead won.
So the gaming equivalent of then the most popular games is that we will see Call of Duty and Halo dominate.
And I didn't say that. That's why I said put a threshold. If it sells 5 million units, it can be considered for Game of the Year. I have no problem if you say a 5 million unit seller was better than a 20 million unit seller. That makes perfect sense to me. We had enough people play it, but I honestly think you should confine your choices to the best-selling games. And Far Cry probably will end up being a 5 million unit seller because it really was good.
I think on that one, I mean, I will agree with you that Far Cry should sell because it's phenomenal. I will respectfully disagree with regards to games like Halo and because I honestly think Halo.
You would never disagree with me on Red Dead Redemption.
No,
or
Red
Bioshock,
Dead.
the original Bioshock.
Bioshock Infinite next year. We'll be talking about that.
Those games are legitimately artistic. They're just really well done. Everybody who played it loved it, and they also were commercially successful.
As was Journey, and I think, you know, again, Walking Dead, now that you said they're up to almost 5 million, maybe up to 5 million.
Right, that probably would have qualified, but I didn't know that. You know, it's funny, because after I dissed it, the developer contacted me to let me know how many units it sold. That's why I said
I think it's like they were saying for them.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, one of the other awards that blew my mind at the VGAs was Best Graphics for Halo 4. Best Graphics for a 7-year-old console. Best graphics of the year. Yeah, don't people play PC games?
I personally thought on the console, Assassin's Creed was the best looking game I've ever seen.
I think, yeah, again, on the console, I thought that was right up there. But my
Crysis is every year in, year out, always, whenever it comes out, it's the best looking game you've ever seen on PC.
But yeah, I think, I mean, we argue with video game awards up and down the street, and I don't think that, I will say this, anybody who voted for Halo 4 to have the best graphics of 2012, you're either blind or smoking too much. And I'm not talking about tobacco. Get a clue, the Xbox does not have the best graphics, neither does the PlayStation, neither does the Wii.
It's the Wii U.
Neither does the Wii U, it's PC. If it's not a PC game if a PC game doesn't win best graphics every year, then there is something wrong, simply because of the capability. And no matter how much you say Halo 4 had this great new art style, it still looked like a dog's asshole compared to Far Cry on the PC. Okay, so our boat trip is coming to an end. The sun is setting, and we're going to talk about top 2 2013 predictions each. We both have 2 2013 predictions. I want to talk to you about Microsoft, because you did make the prediction, I think on an episode of GTTV a couple of weeks ago, that you said that you weren't expecting Microsoft to announce anything on a new console.
Well, they'll announce something, it just won't come out.
You don't think they will have a new Xbox in 2013?
I don't.
Right, I am going to go back to my prediction of last year, and I'm going to say that they are going to announce it, and it will be in stores this year. I don't think the Xbox can take another year, or their brand can take another year of pounding with the hardcore gamers, because they may have made a lot of money, which is obviously what Microsoft needs to do in its current state, but their gamer credit is falling, I think, so low with a lot of the hardcore people, enthusiasts, that we will see 720 in stores by Halloween of 2013.
And I'd say by Valentine's Day of 2014.
Okay.
So I'm not talking about a massive slip. I'm talking about bringing the console out at a time when grandma buying one for 7-year-old little Johnny isn't going to deprive the hardcore gamer of one. You know, grandma who's willing to stand in line at midnight at Walmart, so the hardcore gamers can all get them. I think that Microsoft is smart enough to not launch into holiday, because they don't need holiday. They will sell out when the thing comes out. And I think managing the launching early in the year, making sure that they have all the right components, they have all their manufacturing, you know, lined up so that they don't have any glitches at launch, is smarter than trying to rush and meet a holiday deadline. So I just expect we're going to see a February 2014 launch.
Okay, so that was one of my predictions.
Right, it'll come out right before the BioWare doctors come back to work.
And Half-Life 4. Half-Life 4, Xbox 720 exclusive.
It actually could
made
be
by
Half-Life.
BioWare.
Could be Half-Life 5.
Okay.
Then, yeah.
All right, so you're.
Because we probably need Half-Life 3 before we get Half-Life 4, don't you think?
Hit me with a prediction.
Prediction. You know, I'm going to predict that with all of this tragedy going on in the world, you know, all these people dying, that NeoGAF gets nice, and that we're going to have a 5,000 post NeoGAF thread as a testament to both the Annoyed Gamer and the Pach-Attack's contributions to the gaming world, talking about what a great thing we've done by being out here and being voices for the real hardcore NeoGAF gamers who actually know more about gaming than we know. But at least we're out here putting it in plain English for the masses so that they understand where NeoGAF is coming from. That's my prediction.
Yeah, how long have you been working in the games industry?
Oh, 6 months or a week or something.
Yeah,
not very long.
No, seriously. I mean, let's get it out there.
2001.
Okay,
so not very long.
Yeah, I started working in the games industry in 1990. Yeah,
when you were 11.
When actually I was born and sold into slavery at Foxconn. All right, so next prediction.
Was NeoGAF around in 1990? No, it was not.
No.
You predate NeoGAF. I don't.
I predate. I helped launch the 3DO in Europe. That's how far back I go. All right, so next wild and crazy prediction. This one is going to be wild and crazy. That if Sony and Sony and Microsoft do bring both their next-gen consoles this year, 2013, Nintendo's screwed.
I'll second that. I think Nintendo's got a problem. I think that Nintendo has half of its business, which is its handheld business, is dying. And I don't think that it's dying because Nintendo sucks. I think it's dying because for most non-traditional gamers, for most super casual gamers, smartphone and tablet games are good enough. And I think that as entry-level phones convert more and more to smartphones, and the entry-level age of a phone gets younger and younger, you know, it's probably down to 13 or 12 now, if not younger, that you're eroding the market that historically would have been handheld. So I think Nintendo's screwed anyway, because about half of their handheld market is just going to be gone. And I think the Wii U, you know, my understanding is at $349, they're selling it at a break even. If the next gen Xbox and PlayStation launch anywhere remotely close to $349, Nintendo has a serious problem, because the box is going to be underpowered relative to those two. It's going to have a lot less developed online capability, and frankly, probably a lot less developed multimedia functionality. I think they have a problem.
And they haven't really done what they did in 2006 with the Wii, where they communicated it so well.
And you know, communication aside, I know that my mom, who's 87 years old, could pick up a Wiimote and figure it out, play tennis. It made perfect sense to her. Hand my mom a Wii U gamepad, and she will look at you like you're an alien. What do you do with all these buttons? What is this screen? I don't get it. And I know Nintendo thinks, well, everybody knows how to play with a tablet, so you pick up the gamepad, it's intuitive. No, it's not. It's only intuitive if you played a DS before and you understand what you do with the pad and with the controls. I think they've lost that market of women 25 years old and up. They're gone. They're never coming back. And so I think their addressable market is half as big as it was before. That non-traditional gamer gone. And the traditional gamer, I think, would rather have higher power and greater online and multimedia functionality. They're going to get that out of the PS4, the Xbox 720. What do you think about this rumor that Sony's going to drop the PlayStation brand and call this thing something else?
I think
like the Rohan Twitter slut or something.
The Rohan's a Twitter slut. No, I think I mean that was not a serious rumor, was it?
I heard it. I thought maybe they were saying it. I mean, I think that would be foolish to give away the PlayStation.
I think
brand.
It would be suicide because Sony have. I mean, let's face it. PlayStation is the Walkman of this generation for them. It was the Sony Walkman that everybody had. Even if it was a knockoff, you thought it was a Walkman, and that it was not a cassette you plugged on the side and plugged headphones in. Everybody had a Walkman or
you know
a Discman.
What I love about the way you just said that is that's actually how you're supposed to say it, Walkman, but Americans all said Walkman. We're stupid. No, it really was Walkman. You're right, but we all said Walkman.
I'm educated, don't you know?
Educated.
But honestly, I think between that and perhaps Bravia or the only two.
Adenoidal too.
The adenoidal gamer.
Okay.
But no, I thought that would be suicide for Sony. I mean, why would you drop the?
I hope not.
What other brands have they got? They got Bravia. They got Vio.
Well, they've got it. Sony is a pretty powerful brand. Just anything that says Sony, who cares?
But I mean, PlayStation's in the lexicon.
It works.
That would be like Microsoft saying, "Guess what? Xbox 720 is going to be called Windows 9 Games Console."
You know what I find fascinating though is that if you listen to songs like "Forget You," that's the polite version of what that song's called. When he talks about his Xbox and then he talks about his Nintendo or his Atari. Yeah. They call it Atari and Nintendo, but it's an Xbox. So Microsoft's really done a good job. Sony, nobody says my Sony, they say my PlayStation. So it's funny though that these brands like Atari and Nintendo, that they're in the lexicon as the device, when in fact they're the companies who make the device. So we really didn't quite capture the imagination of the way PlayStation is. I'm with you. That brand.
All right, I think that's it.
I've only given one prediction.
You got another one?
I don't know. Is there another one to have?
Just one more.
Okay, my prediction is that @RohanLikesPants will hit 5,000 Twitter followers in 2013. But we're counting on you to follow @RohanLikesPants he'll almost guarantee you a Pach-Attack t-shirt if you follow him on Twitter.
I would say he didn't guarantee you an Annoyed Gamer t-shirt, but we don't have any budget on Annoyed Gamer. So 2012 is over. Here's to a kick-ass 2013.
I'm really happy we're still alive.
I am too. The Mayans seem to have got it wrong. I wonder if they were on NeoGAF back in the day.
Oh, you know, I think if there were a NeoGAF back in the day, it would have been dominated by Mayans predicting the end of the Earth.
Mayans?
NeoGAF, the Mayans.
Yeah.
The Mayans on NeoGAF. I think that actually NeoGAF should change its name to Mayans predicting the end of the world on 12/21. All of you NeoGAFers who are predicting the end of the world, you have to be off of NeoGAF on 12/21/12. Pachter out.
Beer out. Swim faster. Swim faster.
About a mile.
Okay, don't hit any boats. Oh, there's a duck. He's good looking.